Sound. Sound is a very, very important thing on the saxophone. I know I spent a lot of time talking about the theory, and I spent a lot of time talking about the actual written part of the music learning process. But sound, what do you sound like? Do you sound like a duck being squozen? Saxophone players, woodwind players, what do you sound like? Because I know when you're practicing, a lot of people, even if you're playing good things, sometimes they don't allow you to practice where you want to practice. You're a saxophone player, you're going to have a lot of embarrassing practicing days. And if you don't have embarrassing practicing days, you're not doing it right. It's like, say you were eating some hot, spicy, hot sauce filled chicken wings. You're not gonna eat those chicken wings with a fork. You gonna put your hands on it and you gonna get dirty, nice, downright dirty. Your face gonna grease on it and all this other stuff. And Southern cooking. Think of your practice as Southern cooking. Your practice, if it's like Southern cooking, where you're making all these types of mistakes and especially for beginners, and you kind of squeaking, and it's not necessarily that you're trying to do that, but you're trying to achieve something higher. So say you're a beginner, and your practice is just, oh, I'm gonna practice what I want to practice so I sound good, and you're not looking for something that sounds bad, then that's bad practice. But if you got some good Southern cooking in your practice, which means, like me, I end up practicing Altissimo, and you can hear it all through my videos. And I'm just sitting there trying to practice Altissimo, trying to achieve something different, something new, And I'm screeching and I'm screaming and I'm doing all this weird, crazy crap. That's because it's not that I'm trying to sound bad. Is that I'm trying to achieve something different. When you're soloing, you're not thinking. You're not thinking about what you can do. It's all about expressing yourself, knowing what you can do, and trying to put that in words that everybody can understand. Or musical words that everybody can understand. It's like you're not trying to reach for it. You just do it. It's like Nike. You just do it. You don't think about it. Just do it, and even though you might not hit a note, who cares? You miss a couple of notes, who cares? If you attempt it, like say, if you got, some skills in the Altissimo register, you're not just going to let a note screech out of control all the time. You can lip it down, you can lip it up. Sometimes I try to do it. It's just stuff that you just do. And when you're improvising, you lay a little flat on the note, and you can loop it back up, or you might want to stay flat on the note. So, just think about, when you're practicing, think about anything that you can possibly do to make yourself sound the worst it could possibly sound, and fixing it. Because when you're practicing, you're not worried about what people think. This is not a live performance. You don't have to sound perfect, to be practicing. You don't have to sound perfect. And most of the time you won't sound perfect. You remember, for your advanced players, you remember those days where you were like, oh man, I don't want to practice my saxophone because I don't want people to laugh at me because I sound like a duck, or I sound like this horrible, Take those days and apply them to these days. What did you practice when you were younger, or younger on the instrument, that made you feel like you wasn't good? Take those, I wasn't good qualities, and apply it to your practice. What makes you not sound good in your practice or your performance that you want to incorporate in your practice? Just like I say, you eating Southern cooking, you're liable to get some grease, some barbecue sauce on your face. You might as well, because there's no really other way you can avoid it because of the way it's cooked. So when you're in practice, you might as well get a little dirty, make a little unpleasant sound, because you're trying to make yourself better. When I was practicing, I would always try to get as loud as I possibly could. you know, but in a controlled environment, of course. But that way you know how your saxophones are going to react in certain situations, so you can circumvent or be able to improvise over it if you mess up or start thinking when you're improvising. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of ways you can go about doing this instead of just saying, oh, well, let me sound good and everything I do is good, you know. Try to bend it to the point where you're just going to break when it comes to notes. Try to bend that note until the point where it's going like, oh my goodness, this note can't get any, you know, I can't flex this note anymore until I'm in the flat register or the, you know, I mean, not the flat register, but I make it sharp or I make it flat, you know. So explore the possibilities of your instrument because it's there for you to explore. Don't break your instrument, but you know the things that you can do to push your instrument to its limits, you know, and push your practices to their limits by getting dirty sometimes. Sometimes you got to get dirty. That's how I learned how to growl, you know, because I was pushing it to the limit. I was like, and my arms was just tired, and I ended up growling. I was like, hold up. Doesn't some of the artists I know do this? And I wasn't even thinking about actually using it as a technique, but I just knew how to do it from that instance where one day I was practicing confirmation. I was like, you know, this is getting tiring and my lips are getting tired, but I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to keep pressing forward because it's like Southern chicken. You know, even though it's there, I'm going to keep eating. You know, even though it's, you know, I'm going to keep eating just because it's getting on my face. Just because that pizza grease, because I got some, you know, Italian pizza on my face. So just because it's there don't mean I'm going to stop eating it, right? It's practice. I mean, you have to go deeper into what you can do to find out what you can do. So what are you doing today as a way